Today I'm going to introduce you to Open Educational Resources, otherwise known as OER, and in particular OER Commons. OER Commons is a public digital library of open education resources. Open education resources are freely accessible, open licensed, and includes text as well as media and other digital assets that are useful for teaching, learning, and assessing, as well as for research purposes. Open Education Resources supports equity and flexibility. The worldwide movement is rooted in the human rights to access high-quality education. This shift in educational practice is not just about cost-saving and easily access to openly licensed content. It's about participation as well as co-creation. The move to open education practice is more than a shift in content. It is an immersive experience in collaboration, teaching, as well as learning. Open education practice leverages open educational resources to expand the role of educators, allowing teachers to become curators, curriculum designers, and content creators. In sharing teaching tools and strategies, educators network their strengths and improve the quality of education for their students. And with an open practice, educators are able to adjust their content, pedagogy, as well as their approach based on their learners without the limitation of all rights reserved content, as in copyright content. So to begin with, the first step, go to oercommons.org and click on Sign In Register, which you'll find on the top right-hand corner, next to the icon that looks like a magnifying glass. Now, if you already have an account, you can simply log in and begin. However, if you don't, you'll need to register for one. Once you've registered your details, you'll come to a confirmation page, where it'll say welcome to OER Commons, and a confirmation email was sent to your email address. At this point, please go to your email address that you used to register with OER Commons and click on the activation link provided. Now that you have activated your account, log in, begin. It's important to remember that OER Commons is a place where we can find and share open educational resources. In saying that, not all resources are equal, or in this case, equally open. So there are a few icons that we need to get our head around, which I'll explain now. The first criteria of content is no strings attached. The content is under public domain or requires attribution. In terms of no strings attached, what this basically means that there is no restrictions on us remixing, redistributing, or making derivative works. Where specified, for example, attribution required, we will need to give credit to the author as requested. The second type of license that we'll see on this website allows us to remix and share. Here, we can remix, redistribute, or make derivatives. However, they do come with some restrictions, including how the content is shared, as well as if we can use the content for commercial purposes or not. The last grouping is called share only. Here, we're allowed to redistribute. However, it comes with more restrictions. For example, we may not be allowed to remix or make derivative work, meaning we can't change the content in any way, shape, or form. However, we can share the content. The key thing to remember is, when in doubt, read the fine print. For example, if a lesson plan or activity is not clearly tagged or marked as being in public domain or having an open license, it is not an open educational resource. In some instances, a resource may specify in the fine print, in which case we should look for conditions of use, where they may specify how, where, and when the content can be used. Also, if citation is required or giving credit to the original content creator. So, ready? Let's do this. In the search box, let's type in business networking. Perhaps we are running a class on business and the importance or virtues or values of networking, and we're just looking to find a bit more content to help really enhance our lesson plan. So, search box, type in business networking. For now, let's not change or let's not play with any of the other functions, for example, subject, education level, or standard. And when we click search, what we find is 68 results appear. Alright, so 68 results aren't too bad, but let's be honest, who's got time to look through 68 different resources? This is where the filters come in handy. As such, let's look into them, shall we? To begin with, let's have a look at subject area. Now, though you've typed in business networking, there are lots of different types of networking which might appear or occur. Chances are anyone that's written an article or written content with the keyword networking has probably turned up. As such, let's click on business and communication, and what we find is the results have now dropped down from 68 to 47. So not a bad start. Next, let's click onto education level and perhaps select a few options here. As you can see, there's quite a few options available. So to begin with, let's say we are teaching secondary school students. So we click on the high school option. Now what we notice is there's only 19 results available. This is where, as an educator, let's look at this topic from a broader perspective. Perhaps college and upper division students might also be relevant for our target audience. So let's click on that as well. And now we've got 36 results to contend with, which is not bad. And considering we're going to be doing a few more filters later on, it's good to have a decent pool to draw from. So at this stage, let's not narrow it too far down. So next, let's have a look at material type. If we click on material type, quite a few options are given to us. For example, activity and lab, case study, diagram illustration, full courses, game, homework and assignment, interactive, lectures, lecture notes, lesson plans, modeling, reading, student guide, syllabus, textbook, and unit of study. Let's say what we're really looking for is a case study for our students to wrap their head around a concept, to really understand from a real life example. So let's click on that. Oh, now we only have 2 results available. This is interesting. At this point, it's important to have a quick glance at the 2 remaining articles or content pieces and consider to ourselves, is this the right type of content for us? For example, we were looking at business networking. The result in front of us is about project management for a changing climate. I think we've refined a bit too far down. So let's go back and change some of our search filter options. It's important to note, if we're looking at redistributing the content for commercial purposes, we really need to have a look at the license option. Also, if we're looking at contextualizing or changing the content, once again, we need to have a look at the licensing option. So at this stage, let's click on licensing type, and here we can see there are a few options ahead of us. And this includes unrestricted use, conditional remix, and share permitted, only sharing permitted, and the last one, read the fine print. Based on what we would like to do with this content, it's important to make sure that we are following the rules and thereby looking for content which is fit for purpose. Now remember, at any point, if we have refined too much, in the sense we've filtered too much and we don't have enough content to look at, just look at the selected filters option just above your search results. And what you can see is every single filter that you've put in so far. For example, business and communication, high school, college and upper division, career and technical, adult education, videos, student, teacher, English. Each of these are subcategories that we have filtered by. So if we have got to the point where we don't have enough results to look at, just click on the X next to each of them and it'll unfilter those from the results, and thereby increasing the number of search results we have to work with. Once you've selected some articles to have a look at, consider the following. Firstly, rating. Each article has a rating. More stars, the better it is. Something else to also consider from a relevance perspective. When was the article written? Chances are that some content may become obsolete over time, as a result of which, if you're looking at an article which is over 10 years old, or in this case from 2013 and 2014, will the content still be valid? Another useful piece of information that you can find from the search results prior to clicking onto an article is the copyright component. For example, for the first article, it says read the fine print for more information, whereas the second one indicates that this particular article can be shared, however, must be attributed to the original content creator, as well as no revisions or derivatives can be made on the content, basically meaning you have to use it as is or distribute it as is, hence only sharing permitted. A few more useful tools to consider when you click into an article. You can save it, so this way you can access it later as resources that you have basically collected, curated. At the same time, you can also share it, which is great for collaboration. So you might be able to share it via Twitter or WhatsApp or even through Pinterest. And for those of you who are using Google Classroom, you can take this content and directly put it into Google Classroom. So this way makes it far quicker to share the content with your community, whether they be students or other teachers. Once you click onto View Resources, it will take you to the next screen, which has several options available. Now, once you get here, as there are several options, you have to choose the one which is most appropriate to what you're looking for. In my particular case, I was looking for business networking, and the option which says job search and networking, though not 100% correct, at least the networking aspect is there. So that's what I've decided to click onto. Once you click networking, you'll start to see a few more options appear. Each of these options are modules that you can quite essentially look at to get content for your particular class, or even for professional development. In my case, because I'm looking at business networking, it would be really good to look at networking basics, where I can find more information about the basics of networking. Now, remember, I'm looking at business networking. So though this particular article will be skewed towards job search, this is where, as a teacher, we could contextualize it to make it fit for a business perspective. Because at the end of the day, the fundamentals, as in the basic steps of what we do, how we do, what we do, are going to be transferable, as in transferable knowledge, as well as transferable skills. Another interesting thing to also look at are the YouTube playlists that have been created for the particular topic. Now, not all articles or all topics will have a YouTube playlist associated with it. In saying that, if one exists, do check it out, because sometimes they've got really good content, which we can once again share with our students, as well as our wider community. At any point, if you want to check out the other modules, simply click on Back to Tutorial, and you'll go back to the previous page where you can choose between all the different modules that are available under this particular search. My final tip for using open education resources. Firstly, verify usage rights, as in before accessing or using a particular article, have a look to see what user rights we actually have. For example, can we use this freely for both personal and professional use? Regardless of the article we are using or looking at, ensure the online resource passes the quality assurance test. In the sense, is the content still relevant? Has it been written by someone credible? Is the source verified? Third thing, create an open educational resource repository, meaning you're going to come across a lot of great content. The last thing you want is to need something but not be able to find it. So as you find these great articles or as you find these great content, start putting it together in one place. Fourth tip, use open educational resources for inspiration. Don't rely upon this content to be your endpoint. Look at it almost as a beginning, something which leads you on to greater knowledge, greater exploration, and greater content to share with your students. The fifth point, when and wherever possible, repurpose resources to create a comprehensive course, meaning not all the answers are going to be in one place. As educators, we have a background. We come with knowledge. We come with skills. And the longer we teach, the more hopefully we absorb. As a result of which, look at what's currently available, bring our own experience to the table as well, and always try to add something new to it to ensure what we're teaching and what we're getting out there is as comprehensive as possible, as in complete. Tip 6. Encourage self-guided exploration. At the end of the day, we can lead people to knowledge, but we can't make people learn. As such, as educators, all the great content that we come up with and all the amazing methods we use to get the information across, let that be a starting point. At the end of the day, we can't keep expelling boundless amounts of energy. So try and encourage self-guided exploration. Encourage our students. Give them the power, give them the tools, let them explore. Step 7. Host a live open educational resource workshop. As teachers, we are part of a community. Our community is made up of other teachers, our managers, our students, parents of students, as well as the community at large. It's our responsibility to move forward with everyone. Is that an easy thing to do? The answer is no. However, at least we can try. And the last and most importantly, be flexible, explore and share your discoveries. Good luck.